been lied to ever since you were a kid. They told you that discipline was all about willpower. Just try harder, they said. Wake up earlier. Make a to-do list. Push through. As if the surface-level rituals could fix the rot underneath. But here's the truth. No one told you discipline isn't about waking up inspired or finding motivation out of thin air. It's not about effort. It's about war. A silent, inner war. You're either commanding your own mind like a skilled ruler commands an army, or you're being quietly destroyed from the inside. Most people, they live like crumbling cities, invaded by impulses, overrun by chaos. They're ruled by the next craving, the next distraction, and they don't even see it happening. They think freedom means doing what you feel like doing. But without real discipline, there is no freedom, only slavery to chaos. And those who refuse to bring order to themselves are forever trapped in disorder. Niccolò Machiavelli, misunderstood by so many, saw this clearer than anyone. While others preach positivity or believing in yourself, Machiavelli stared directly into the nature of man with cold precision. He didn't care about good intentions. The world doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards control, discipline, strength under pressure, the ability to hold your center when the world is unraveling around you. For Machiavelli, discipline wasn't about morality or some romantic ideal. It was survival. Without it, a king and a beggar meet the same end: ruin. And here's the harshest truth. Every time you fail to lead yourself, you give your power away. Not always to someone else, but to whatever force is louder than your will. Temptation, fatigue, fear, life, like power, never leaves a vacuum. If you're not in charge, something else is. So no, discipline isn't waking up early when you feel like it. It's not about wanting it badly enough. If that's your strategy, stop right here. This video isn't for comfort seekers. It's for people ready to take full ownership, people willing to shape themselves like a blacksmith forges iron. Because real discipline is vigilance, strategy, ruthless self-control. It's about building an internal fortress that chaos can't touch. Today, you'll understand why Machiavelli treated discipline as a guarded secret, a non-negotiable foundation of real power. And if you have the guts to apply it, you'll never see yourself the same again. Machiavelli didn't write to make people feel better. He wrote to prepare warriors of the mind. He wrote for people willing to look reality in the face and still take action. From his point of view, discipline has nothing to do with motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Discipline is structure. It's strategy. It's what keeps you from becoming prey to forces you can't control. In The Prince, Machiavelli says, just as the proper order of the military is the foundation of a well-governed state, so is discipline the foundation of enduring strength. His message was clear: without discipline, cities collapse, armies fall, and men fail. External order is nothing more than a reflection of internal order. And anyone ruled by impulse, no matter their talent, is already on their way down. Discipline isn't a tool you use when times are calm. It's the armor you wear in peace and in crisis. It's what keeps leaders from crumbling under pressure or acting out of ego, fear, or rage. A ruler who lacks discipline is more dangerous to himself than his worst enemy, because his downfall won't come from the outside. It'll come from within: poor judgment, rash decisions, reacting instead of planning. Discipline seals those cracks before the collapse begins. You don't practice discipline when it's easy. You forge it every day, like maintaining a fortress wall brick by brick. Because decay is always coming. And Machiavelli knew. We are all vulnerable to pride, to laziness, to fear. And the only way to win that battle is constant, brutal self-observation. Not once, always. And this doesn't just apply to rulers. It applies to you. If you want to lead your own life, to be the one steering instead of being dragged, you need discipline. If you don't control your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, then something else will. And in Machiavelli's world, those who are ruled by others aren't living. They're already politically dead. They just haven't noticed yet. But Machiavelli didn't stop there. He saw the mind as a battlefield. And on that field, discipline is the last line between victory and collapse. Think of it this way. Picture an army heading into war with no training, no structure, no chain of command. What do you see, disaster? No matter how brave those soldiers might be, they'll scatter at the first sign of panic. They'll quit the second they're tired. They'll fall apart when fear sets in. That's what Machiavelli saw in mercenary armies and in undisciplined men. Without true discipline, everything falls apart the moment life gets hard. In Discourses on Livy, he wrote, "The orders of a wise captain are useless when soldiers lack discipline." That wasn't just about military tactics. It was a psychological truth. If your mind is like a chaotic army, your goals and plans mean nothing. You can write down resolutions, create vision boards, say affirmations in the mirror. But if your inner world is weak, your thoughts and feelings will rebel the second things get hard. And they will. You'll break your own promises. You'll fall short. Not because you're not capable, but because you didn't train yourself. Discipline, to Machiavelli, was the thing that let the few defeat the many. The weak overcome the strong. A small, well-trained force could crush a massive but scattered army. And that same rule applies inside your own head. A few focused. Disciplined thoughts are worth more than thousands of competing desires. So ask yourself, how many times have you failed? Not because of your talent, but because you gave up control. How many goals have you set and then abandoned the second fear or fatigue showed up? Like a foolish general, you lost the war before you even started fighting. Military discipline is waking up with the same resolve every single day. It's following your plan when you're tired. It's taking action when your body aches and your mind screams for rest. Because in the end, victory doesn't go to the most inspired. It goes to the most disciplined. Machiavelli knew that power isn't brute strength. It's order. It's anticipation. It's preparation. And that's exactly what you need to apply to your life. We live in a world obsessed with feelings. But feelings lie. And that's why so many people walk around defeated, blaming their circumstances, waiting for things to magically improve. But now, you know, if you want to win, if you want to lead, you must be your own general. You must train your mind like Machiavelli trained his troops, without mercy, without shortcuts, without compromise. Because in the war of life, discipline isn't optional. It's the price of power. And if discipline is what builds virtù, that deep internal strength to shape your own future, then we need to understand how Machiavelli saw the relationship between virtù and fortuna, between skill and luck, control and chaos. See, in Machiavelli's world, fate isn't some fair force that rewards the good and punishes the wicked. Fate is brutal, indifferent, like a violent flood. It crashes through the world, destroying whatever isn't fortified. It doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care how badly you want something. It only respects preparation. He puts it plainly in, "The prince fortune is like one of those impetuous rivers that, when they become enraged, flood the plains, knock down trees, tear down homes, sweep away the earth beneath your feet. But although they are violent, this doesn't stop wise men from building dikes and barriers in times of calm." Let that image sink in. That flood, that's life. The chaos, the unexpected disasters, the losses, betrayals, humiliations. They're coming. And if you haven't built your internal defenses, if you haven't strengthened your discipline when things are calm, you'll be wiped out the second the current rises. This is where virtù comes in. One of the most misunderstood but powerful ideas in all of Machiavellian thought. Virtù isn't virtue in the moral sense. It's not about being good. It's about being capable. It's about having the internal power to adapt, to think strategically, to face chaos without flinching. Virtù is discipline in motion. It's not theory. It's execution. It's being able to take decisive action when others freeze. It's being able to create opportunity from collapse, to stay calm when others panic, to rise when others fall, to face the storm with steel in your spine, and perhaps most importantly, virtù is the refusal to blame luck for failure. The world will always tempt you to point fingers at your upbringing, your environment, your boss, your partner, the economy, the algorithm. But Machiavelli taught that great men don't wait for luck to favor them. They challenge it. They shape it. They prepare before the flood. So ask yourself, how many times have you waited? Waited for the right moment. Waited until you felt ready. Waited for conditions to magically align. Every time you wait, every time you delay, you hand the wheel of your life to Fortuna. And if you keep doing that, don't be surprised when she crashes you into the rocks. But virtù is different. It's what separates the men who react from the men who rule. It's what makes you unshakable. And it starts with discipline. Not flashy. Motivational discipline. But cold, methodical, strategic discipline. Now here's the problem. Today, the word discipline has been hijacked, watered down, turned into a feel-good slogan on a productivity app. You hear things like just build habits or create a routine with colorful planners, as if mastering yourself is something you can outsource to a notification system. Let's be clear, that's not discipline, that's decoration. Machiavelli would laugh at the softness of that approach. Because real discipline isn't cute. It isn't convenient. It's not a productivity hack. It's pain. It's a conscious decision to go to war against every lazy, fearful, weak part of yourself. You've been conditioned to seek shortcuts. Conditioned to believe that if you just find the right trick or tool, your life will fall into place. But that's a fantasy. Real discipline doesn't come from ease. It comes from resistance. From doing what's necessary, even when everything inside you begs for rest. Discipline isn't waking up inspired. It's waking up regardless. It's showing up when you're empty. It's doing the thing, again and again, even when you're exhausted, discouraged, angry, afraid. Machiavelli warned us, the prince who waits for the perfect moment to act will be destroyed by the first wave of misfortune. Preparation happens in peace, not panic. Discipline is forged on quiet days, on lonely days, on the invisible battlefield of the mind, where no one is watching. That's where power is built. Not in public displays of effort, but in private wars you win alone. The modern world tells you to celebrate small wins, to forgive yourself often, to be kind to yourself, And while that has a place, it's also what's keeping you soft. While you're rewarding yourself for checking a box, your potential is quietly rotting. While you're being gentle with yourself, your goals are dying of neglect. Modern discipline is emotional, mood-based, environment-dependent. The moment you're tired, the moment things get uncomfortable, you stop. But Machiavelli's discipline, it's structural, ruthless, indifferent to how you feel. It doesn't wait for motivation. It imposes itself like a stone wall. Immovable, inflexible. You want to be ready before you move, fine. Then get ready to be ruled by others. Because while you're waiting, someone else is training. While you're negotiating with your own doubt, someone else is acting. And that's what separates the ones who build empires from the ones who fantasize about them. You want to develop real discipline, then you need to throw comfort out the window. Accept the pain. Embrace the struggle. Stop asking how to make it easier. Start asking how to become harder. You have to transform your mind into a battleground. And anything that makes you weak, any excuse, any rationalization, any story you tell yourself about why you can't, that's the enemy, and it must be destroyed. If you've made it this far, then you're ready. Ready to stop intellectualizing discipline and start building it. Not in theory, but in action, in daily structure, in brutal, uncompromising routine. Because understanding discipline isn't enough. You need to embed it into your life so deeply that laziness has nowhere to hide. So that doubt and fear and hesitation get suffocated the second they show up. Machiavelli taught that a wise ruler builds defenses long before the attack. He doesn't wait until the gates are under siege. He prepares. You need to do the same with your mind. You build the mental fortress now. You develop the system before life tests it. And here's how it starts. Step 1. Constant vigilance. You need to inspect yourself daily, no exceptions. Like a general checking his troops before battle, look for cracks. Where are you slipping? Where are you making excuses? Where is comfort replacing clarity? Because even one small habit, one harmless distraction, can destroy the whole structure. Every act of laziness chips away at your defenses. Every time you delay, you launch an attack on your own success. So watch yourself. Every single day. Don't let anything slide. Step 2. Rigid structure. The fewer decisions you leave to chance, the stronger your discipline becomes. Your brain will always try to save energy, and that means choosing comfort. That's why you need a system. Wake-up time fixed. Workout time non-negotiable. Work hours scheduled like clockwork. Your routines must become identity level. No room for debate. No, do I feel like it? Just execution. If you wait until the end of a long day to decide whether you'll train, you've already lost. You'll find a reason not to. But if training is something you do no matter what, like brushing your teeth, then it gets done. Period. Step 3. Real consequences. This is where most people fail. They treat discipline like a preference. But in war, mistakes have consequences. You must bring that same seriousness to your life. If you fail to follow your plan, there should be pain. Set consequences. Public ones. If you skip your training, donate to a cause you hate. Tell your friends. Post it publicly. Carry the weight. Let your brain associate failure with cost, not just regret. That's how you rewire your system. Not through rewards, but through accountability. Discipline isn't about chasing dopamine. It's about protecting your future. Think of a soldier. He doesn't decide whether to run in the rain. He runs because the order was given. He obeys not because it's fun, but because the mission matters. You need that same mindset. You don't do this because it's easy. You do it because your life depends on it. That's the difference. And once you understand that, once you truly accept that discipline isn't optional but essential, then you have to ask the deeper question, why? If we know all this, do so many people still sabotage themselves? Why do smart, capable individuals still procrastinate, break their own promises, delay the very actions they know will change their lives? The answer is chilling because the enemy is inside. It's not out there. It's not fate, or circumstances, or lack of opportunity. It's internal. Self-sabotage isn't loud. It's subtle, it's silent, and it's persistent. You talk about wanting change, but you scroll instead. You say you want to build a new life, but you cling to the old one. You know what to do, but you find a reason not to. Again and again and again. And that is the war no one talks about. The war within yourself. That's what this final part is about, destroying that internal enemy once and for all. Because here's the brutal truth. Knowledge without action is cowardice. It's just another form of self-deception. Many people will listen to this video and feel the weight of the truth in their chest. They'll nod along, maybe even feel motivated. And then they'll go right back to their lives. Back to comfort, back to softness, back to failure. They'll return to being ruled by impulse, by distraction, by excuses, and they'll call it normal. But a few will choose differently. A few will draw the line. They'll say, no more. They'll stop being ruled. They'll start ruling. They'll build a discipline not based on how they feel, but on what they've decided. A discipline that doesn't bend to tiredness, doubt, or fear. And that kind of discipline, unshakable, unyielding, is not a decoration for good days. It becomes the spine of your entire existence. Machiavelli warned us trying to govern a nation without discipline leads to collapse. And now you understand. Trying to govern your life without discipline leads to the same. Your mind is your kingdom. Your habits are your troops. Your decisions, those are your tactics. And every day, you're either winning ground or losing it. You don't get to opt out. You don't get to float through life in neutral. You will either become the prince or you'll remain the prisoner. There's no middle. There never was. Maybe you're still thinking you've got time, that you'll start when you're ready, that next week will be different, that once things settle down, you'll commit fully. But let me remind you again of what Machiavelli taught: the prince who waits for the perfect moment to act will be destroyed by the first tide of misfortune. The time is now, while you have the strength, while you still have the ability to reshape your mind, while the walls of your inner fortress can still be rebuilt. Discipline yourself, not for likes, not for compliments, not for image, but because your life depends on it, your freedom depends on it, your greatness demands it. And now, I want you to declare it, publicly, not for me, for you. In the comments, write, "I choose to be my own prince." Let this be the first act of real discipline in your new life. A moment that marks the end of excuses and the beginning of something unshakable. Because the first step to mastering the world is mastering yourself. And whatever you do not stop here. Don't let this be another video you watched, nodded at, and forgot. Continue, cement this. Build momentum. Strengthen your inner army. Watch the next video. Reflect. Apply. Evolve. You're not done. You're just starting to forge something that most people will never even attempt. And if this message struck something inside you, if it woke something up, then I have one more thing for you. I've written an ebook called Beyond the Shadow. It breaks down Carl Jung's core ideas, not as theory, but as tools. practical strategies to understand and conquer the unconscious forces shaping your life. If you're serious about transformation, go read it. The link is in the pinned comment. But whether you read it or not, remember this: discipline is your weapon, your shield, your throne, and you either use it or life will use you. So make your decision. Are you going to be led by the noise in your head? Or are you going to lead yourself? Because discipline is not just the path to success, it is success. And the moment you stop negotiating with your weakness is the moment you become unstoppable. Now go build your fortress and rule